everyone. Yes, I know my hair is different. I know. You guys already know the deal when I'm doing my roots, so I'm gonna be a half blondie for a couple of days until I fix it. So you're just gonna have to look past that until then. This is just gonna be a story time video because why not? I'm pretty sure half of you are wondering what is she talking about from her title. That is my story and I'm sticking to it, and it was her fault, not mine. No, but really, I was like 9 when this happened. Before you guys have a heart attack and hissy fit and say, you know, what is a 9-year-old doing in front of the stove and she shouldn't be cooking and where were her parents and yada yada yada. Let me tell you something about myself. I've been cooking and stuff since I was like 5. And that was because my grandmother taught me, and she taught me how to sew and do all of the homemaking stuff. And she kind of actually made me do it, so it's her fault why I have all of these skills. So I knew my way around the kitchen for a very long time. So don't try and play me because I was 9. Like, I knew what I was doing. But Sailor Moon was hard to resist. And so that's just gonna have to be a pass and an exception. But yeah, I was on my way home from school and I was like really hungry. I guess I didn't eat much at school because cafeteria lunch is disgusting. So I usually wait until I go home to like really eat. So I got home and it was almost time for the show to come on. I knew I had to get something to eat beforehand because Sailor Moon would usually come on and then Dragon Ball Z would come on like directly after, and those two were like my favorite shows. So I knew it'd be like a good hour before I get up from the couch and, you know, do my homework and all that stuff. I got home and I started prepping the food and my brother went outside. I guess he was the one who was watching me. But he went outside to talk to his friends, and so I couldn't find any pots or anything that I normally use, and I found a smaller one that like I never used. I guess my mom just bought it, but I wasn't really used to cooking with it, and so I was like, whatever, I'll just use it. And so I filled it with oil and I turned the fire on, and you have to wait for oil to heat up before you can like really start cooking. So I turned the fire on and I was waiting for it to heat up, and then I hear the intro of the show and I was like, damn. So I'm like, okay, well I have to wait for the, you know, oil to heat up anyways. So I kind of walked around the corner and so I can, you know, watch the show while I waited. You know how like when you're watching TV and your favorite shows and stuff, and it's like the first few minutes and the last half of the episode are like the most important, like the whole middle and beginning, it doesn't really matter. But this was before, you know, there was Hulu and Netflix and a DVR and stuff where you could record and rewind it. So if you missed something, you missed it, and you would just have to hope for a rerun to come on, and you'd have to really like cross your fingers and hope you don't miss the rerun. So yeah, I didn't want to miss the beginning half of it because it was like the last couple of episodes of the season, so you know how it was getting really good, so I didn't want to miss anything. And so I was like watching and waiting, and then I hear the smoke detector go off, and I figured, I'm like, you know, I guess it's hot enough, because sometimes heat triggers the smoke detector. And I figured, okay, well, maybe it's smoking a little bit. I turned around the corner and it was in flames. Like the pot was just like burning, and I froze for a second because A, I've never seen a fire like that before, and B, I was like partially mesmerized, you know, by it, because like a fire does emit a very beautiful color, but it's not something you want to mess with. So I snapped out of it, and like my first instinct of, you know, what they teach you, you know, in school is like, you know, if you see a fire, you put it out with water. They didn't teach you the science behind it. And I learned a very valuable lesson that water and oil do not mix. And when I, you know, grabbed a jug from the sink and I threw the water on the pot, it exploded in my face. So I jumped back and I put my hands in front of my face so it like wouldn't really like get me, and it burned my whole arm, my legs, got my face, my neck, like everywhere, and it hurt. Of course it would. But I was more concerned about, you know, the damage if I caused any. Honestly, I think what happened, I think it was that the pot was a bit smaller that I normally use, and since my stove is kind of old, like if you turn it a little bit too high, it starts to spark, and I think one of the flames like sparked and it caught the oil on fire. As a more experienced cook, I realized that it definitely was a controlled fire, because you know, you go to restaurants and stuff and they cook and you know, you see the flames coming from the pot and stuff. It's controlled. But I think because I was a kid, I saw a fire and I panicked, so I figured to put it out. All I would have needed to do was just move it from underneath the microwave so it wouldn't melt it, and I would have been good. But yeah, I didn't really do any damage. It was just smoke, and it got all over the microwave and stuff. So I figured, I'm like, okay, I can clean it. So I tried to hurry up and clean it and stuff, since my brother was still outside and I knew I'd get in trouble if anyone found out that I almost like burned the house down. I cleaned it fine, and I was like, okay, well, I looked at the time and my mom would be home in like not even 10 minutes. So I was like, okay, I'm good. Then I look up and the entire ceiling was black. Like, it was black. And I was like, what am I going to do? So I panicked and I ran and I told my brother, and he was livid. He was so mad at me. And he was just like, you know, what are you doing? Why are you doing stuff? And like, he just got really pissed off, and he kicked me out of the house, and he told me to wait outside and wait for my mom to come and to tell her, you know, what I did, you know, while him and his friend went inside to, you know, try and clean it. And I was having the biggest heart attack, panic attack, any kind of attack, because I knew I would be in deep trouble. And her car rode up, and I was just like, I was like hyperventilating and crying and just like stating what I was going to say over and over and again. And like, I walked up to the door, and then it was somebody else, and it wasn't my mother. So like that, I thought I died. And then like maybe 10 minutes after that, she actually came. But by then my brother and his friend, you know, got everything clean, so she didn't notice anything. And if she's watching now, yes, I almost burned down your house. Whoops, sorry. But she never found out. But she did question when she got home, like, because it smelled like smoke, and she asked if I was cooking, and I was like, yeah, kind of burned. But I just didn't tell her I almost burned everything. So moral of the story is, of course, everyone knows, don't walk away, have your back turned in front of the stove if you're using it or cooking. I still kind of do it, but I mean, I know what I'm doing. More so now than I did before. But mainly the thing is, what I think is they should definitely do a better job of training about fire safety, and the fact that there are different types of fire that require different ways of putting it out, because water wasn't the way to go for a grease fire. Not at all. That was like making it worse. And I mean, there's different ways you have to put out like a chemical fire, and you know, regular fire, and just anything. So I think they need to do a way better job of training on that. And I still don't even, you know, have formal training on, you know, what to do with the different types of fire, because the only time I learned about the different, you know, ways at all was because I worked in a restaurant, and that was it. And they should do a better job. Anyways, so that was my story and my message to you about fire safety, because Smokey the Bear sucks and he needs to be fired. But yeah, I guess have a wonderful night, morning, evening, or afternoon, and I guess I'll see you guys next video. Another one soon, actually. I think I feel like doing another video. So anyways, bye!